5 years ago, my mentor once shared with me this quote that got stuck in my head ever since. He said, "When willpower and biology go to war, biology will always win." And it makes so much sense because you can have the best time management strategies in the world or the discipline levels of a monk. But if your biology is always working against you rather than with you, then you'll simply be operating at a fraction of your potential. And to put this into perspective, here are a few examples. How many times have you blocked time for content creation, writing a book, or do any creative work only to get hit with writer's block left, right, and center and end up wasting hours? Or how many times have you entered a high-stakes conversation, whether it be a presentation, a boardroom meeting, or a high-tech sales call, and ended up complete flunking the conversation because you're not operating at peak mental clarity? And wonder if you can solve all these problems once and for all simply by watching till the end of this video. So with it being said, let's dive in and talk about the 3 steps to unlock almost limitless energy as an entrepreneur. Step 1, identify and work with your chronotype. So your body runs on a 24-hour energy cycle called a circadian rhythm, which is like your internal clock. It helps control sleep, energy, hunger, and mood for a 24-hour day. And it's mostly affected by light and darkness. In other words, if there's light outside, the body says wake up. But if it's dark, it says time to go sleep. But here's where things get a little bit more interesting. Not everybody's internal clock works the same way, and here is where chronotype comes in. Your chronotype is like your body's natural timing preference. It decides when during the day you feel most awake or sleepy, kind of like a sleep personality. And just in case you feel like this is a little bit too overwhelming for a YouTube video, the good news is that there are only 4 chronotypes, which is the lion, bear, wolf, and a dolphin. And now you might be wondering, hey, Michael, how do I figure out what is my chronotype? Well, the good news is that a very intelligent man by the name of Dr. Michael Bruce has already figured it out for you. He has created a quiz called Power of When quiz that will allow you to identify a chronotype in as little as 5 minutes. So if you're interested in checking it out, then you can simply refer to the link that I'm going to drop right below this video. All right, so now that you have identified a chronotype and hopefully was able to sync and adjust your work schedule and your sleep cycle according to your chronotype and circadian rhythm, let's move to step 2, which is to understand and work with your ultradian rhythm. Your body doesn't just run on a circadian rhythm, which repeats every 24 hours. It also runs on ultradian rhythms, which are intraday energy cycles that repeat every 90 to 120 minutes. During these intraday cycles, your body naturally experiences energy peaks followed by energy troughs. And that's why you might notice that you can typically focus very well for around 90 minutes before your focus and energy starts dwindling off and you are forced to take a break. And this is how most people screw up their energy management. If you are a hard-headed entrepreneur and tend to just ignore rest and push through exhaustion and work through your troughs, then what's going to happen is that your energy peaks will fail to make a full recovery to the point where your peaks will simply go lower and lower and lower throughout the day to the point where you flatline. And that's why you see all of these high-performing entrepreneurs being able to blaze through the morning or the first hour of the day and proceed to become a zombie right after lunch. So with it being said, if you do not want to have the second half of the day be a write-off, practice strategic recovery. Create focus blocks that last for around 60 to 90 minutes, and then pair it up with a break time that lasts for around 10 to 20 minutes. Rather than approaching a long workday as a marathon, you want to approach it as if you're engaged in high-intensity interval training, where you alternate between periods of peak focus with periods of peak recovery. At the end of the day, no pun intended, working with your ultradian rhythm and mastering strategic recovery takes skill. But once you dial it in, after some practice, you'll be able to end your workday with as much energy and focus as if you were entering it. This brings me to step number 3, which is a practice what I call the biosync scheduling method. So now that you understand the ultradian rhythm and the circadian rhythm and how it influences your energy cycles and your states throughout your day, you can now match it with the type of work that you did during the day. So for example, let's say you find yourself tapping into the flow most easily and being able to be at your most creative state at around the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. area. Rather than spending those times on reactive work, answering emails, doing meetings, or doing things that involve a lot of transition, block the time off so that nobody can interrupt you, and simply dedicate the time for deep work, where you can simply produce your highest quality creative work without being hit with writer's block and be able to breeze past even the most demanding tasks such as deep strategic thinking, problem solving, creative work, or producing high demand or navigating highly demanding challenges without being able to trip over your mind or be bogged down with brain fog. So let's say you find yourself most easily tapping in the flow and be in your most creative state around the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. area. What you want to do here is to not focus on reactive work during those times, like answering emails, being on Zoom calls, or do things that causes you to micro-transition between things. What you want to do here instead is a block of a time to engage in deep work, so that rather than getting hit with writer's block later in the day, you may either breeze past even the most mentally demanding tasks, such as deep thinking, problem solving, or doing any creative work that's mentally taxing. And let's say you find yourself typically having the lowest energy point during a day around the 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. mark. Rather than going ahead and scheduling Zoom calls, sales calls, or something that is highly mentally taxing during those times, what you want to do here is to schedule a nap or anything restful during those periods so that you can actually allow your circadian rhythm and ultradian rhythm to work with your biology in that way, rather than risking your ultradian rhythm flatlining and never be able to peak again throughout the rest of the day. You'll be able to provide your body with the adequate rest and recovery required to last you through the remainder of the day. Last but not least, let's say you find yourself being in your most disciplined state around the end of your workday, around 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., where just jazz up, ready to run for a finish line and call a day. Schedule your most disciplined, demanding tasks during those periods. So whatever activity it is that drains the most discipline for you, whether it be going on a live stream, answering an email, or sorting out client work, or having difficult conversations, if that period is a period where you find yourself being able to have the highest level of discipline, schedule your tasks for that period so that you won't procrastinate upon them. So there you have it. These are the 3 steps of unlocking almost limitless energy as an entrepreneur. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of these videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to check out my last video, click here and I'll see you there.